By now, at the time of this recording, EA College Football 25 has been out for just about 2 weeks, and I think we can say it's been a fun game, right? Like, super happy that EA College Football is back, that we have a college football video game again. But, and a big but here, I do think that there are some improvements to be made. Now, one thing I'm seeing a lot on Twitter is I think a lot of people feel that because we have the game back finally, that we should just be grateful for whatever we get, and you can't have any complaints or criticisms. But I think there's a lot in this game that can be improved and should be criticized, so that way we get a better product moving forward. So some of these things are probably going to be small little issues that can be fixed with a patch. Some of them are going to be larger things that might take next year's game to put into effect. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of things that I feel like across the board could make this a more enjoyable game. Okay, the first thing that I think EA just needs to fix right away is the unskippable cutscenes. So every time you go to a halftime show, the pre-game intros, those are unskippable. So you have to sit through that the entire time. You can't just hit A to skip it. And while I think it's cool to see everything that they put into the game in terms of the intros and the tunnel entrances, it lost its luster after the first 2 or 3 times you watched it. Like, I played with Michigan a lot. I've seen them walk out the big house, walk through the banner and everything. Yeah, after the first 2 times, it was like, all right, cool. I don't really care to see this again. So you got to speed the process along. I think NBA 2K18 was like one of the 2Ks that had unskippable cutscenes, and everyone hated it. I don't think anyone likes cutscenes that don't need to be there. I get they want to show off their presentation, but it's one of those things that the presentation isn't really keeping us playing this game. The next fix is, I don't know if it does it for everyone, but for me, whenever I'm playing Road to the College Football Playoff, it says everyone is a freshman from Alabama. Like I said, not a huge thing, doesn't really affect the game in any way whatsoever, but it's just one of those things like, yo, you spent all this time, years and years developing this game, and when you release it, it has bugs like this. Like, it's just those little attention to detail things that, you know, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, yo, like, this should have been fixed. This should have been hashed out well in advance. Like, why are we seeing this? All right, for the next one, I've seen a ton of TikToks about this. I posted actually a video about this, got some comments, but the play calling in Road to Glory, oh my God, it will give you a brain aneurysm if you played Road to Glory. Like, I don't know how many of you have a quarterback and have to deal with like a run on first down, loses 3 yards, a run on second down, loses 3 yards. Then on 3rd and 16, your coach is either calling a play action pass or he's calling like all hitches. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And then I know other people have dealt with this too, but there was one time I was a receiver, and it is, I want to say, the 4th quarter. There's like 20 seconds left, 15 seconds left, something like that. We had like either one timeout or no timeouts, and our coach is going to call a run play at the end of the game, and we're down by like 3 or 4. Like, it's just those things. Like, how is it that bad to where run plays are being called down at the end of the game, no timeouts? Like, it's just another one of those things where, yo, come on, EA, like, can we lock in just a little bit and like tune it? Like, I feel like that can be patched quickly. But yeah, no, the play calling by the AI on your, like, in Road to Glory is terrible. Now, the other team, when you're playing against them, oh, their play calling is phenomenal. And then I've also seen people deal with stuff like, I remember I saw one clip where I think it was a tie game or something like that with like 45 seconds left. His coach takes him out, calls a field goal. They kick the field goal with like 40 seconds left. The other team drives down the field and wins the game. Like, the coaching decision's pitiful. The play calling's pitiful. Like, coaching in Road to Glory just has got to be fixed. And speaking of Road to Glory and Dynasty, now I haven't played Dynasty as much, but I see all the Dynasty people talk about this, is, yo, the FCS schools are entirely too good. Like, there is no reason FCS schools should be upsetting like top 10 teams every single week. That, like, which is what I'm hearing from people, which is what I've seen in Road to Glory. Yeah, they just tune it down. Like, I know we want the difficulty to be up there. More difficult games are definitely more fun, but yeah, no, FCS teams are not winning games every single week. So for this next one, I think that home field advantage is really dope idea. In Road to Glory and Dynasty, it like makes things way more difficult, which is actually very fun to go against. You know, it's a challenge to try and figure out how you're going to negate it. But in head-to-head, it's such an advantage for whoever's the home team, and there's no real way for the away team to figure out like how to negate it necessarily. Like, I think there needs to be a way where it's like, all right, if you get X amount of yards on your first drive, then it goes down a little bit. If you score a touchdown on your first drive, then it goes down even more. If the home team, say they lose some of it, if they 1-play touchdown, 2-play touchdown, or get X amount of yards, they bring it back a little bit. I think that would be a better thing. Like, I think there just needs to be a more objective way to go about it for how big of an advantage it is. Like, at this point, me and my friends, we don't even play like home and away teams. We just go pick a neutral site because it essentially makes the away team play like with one hand on the controller. Like, you can't audible, can't hot route, can't see the routes, can't throw the ball. So I just think there needs to be a more objective way of going about it, especially in head-to-head. Now, Road to Glory Dynasty, it should be like completely difficult, but I think the fact that like based off whoever's home and away has such an advantage playing against another actual person, just have something that we know what we have to do to get rid of it. Okay, so this is the biggest debate I've seen so far on Twitter, but the amount of people who don't want this to be a Madden reskin and want NCAA to be more arcade-like, I get their argument. But at the same time, I think there's a way to make offense fun, make the game fun, the gameplay fun, without doing it in a way where the defense is just so bad, bro. Like, the stuff I see, the clips I see online, the clips I see playing the game of like what your defenders do, absolutely ridiculous. Like, there's no reason defenders should just be standing in place watching the offense run around. The clips where guys will break like 10 tackles on a play, or the defense just takes the absolute worst angles. Like, I get that everyone wants to use the excuse like, oh, it's college, that's how defenses play, but defenses aren't as bad as they are in this game right now. Like, I think there's a fine line between too realistic and too arcadey. Right now we're like kind of on the very arcade end of the spectrum. I think we can make it a little more simulation like. Now, obviously, I think the offense is fine how it is. I don't think a lot of that needs to be, actually, no. The Quinshon Judkins spin move, that needs to be nerfed. Like, bring that down a little bit. There's no reason people should be spamming 8-9 spin moves at one time. But for the most part, I think the offensive movement is very fun to use, very fluid. I don't think we have to make defenders the absolute dumbest things on earth. Like, we can make them normal, regular football players, and I think that'll take a little bit more of the not like ambiguity, but take a little bit, make a defense a little more skillful. Because right now, it kind of feels like sometimes you flip a coin on whether your guy makes a tackle, whether your guy takes the right angle, and I feel like defense is just kind of a crapshoot. It's not necessarily skill. Whereas offense, I feel like offense takes thick skill to make plays. Whereas defense, you know, whoever you're controlling, you have an opportunity, but you can only control one person at a time. The other 10 people, the other 10 AI, yeah, they will act completely like JV football players. And then they're going to be people who are saying,
all you're doing is complaining about the game, just enjoy the game.
I have a ton of fun playing the game. Like, I've been playing it for hours on end. Actually, before I was recording this video, I was literally playing Road to the College Football Playoff for a few hours before this, and it's like 2 a.m. right now. But no, like, there are a ton of fun things about the game, but I think that it can definitely be made better. I think there are a few things that can be done to make the game more skillful from a certain standpoint, especially on defense, because like I was saying, right now it just feels like you're kind of doing whatever. But in terms of the game, I love it. I think there are some features that are really cool. One thing I've noticed is whatever team you're playing with and whoever you're playing against, the strengths of that team really come to life in the game. Like, I use Michigan a lot. Their run game, their run plays, super diverse. A lot of them work well. People, if they just load up trying to stop one thing, you know, you can run a lot of different formations, run a lot of different types of runs, and make them pay for it. I think a lot of the stuff on offense, like the stick skill you have to have, the pass plays, the pass concepts, I think they're really fun. I just think that, you know, we don't have to be just satisfied with the game. We can understand that a game can be fun, a game can be new. We can be happy to have the game for the first time in a decade, but at the same time, it can also be a little bit better. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know how you feel about the game so far. Let me know what improvements you would like to see made by EA that can make the game better, because at the end of the day, that's all we want. We want a game that's fun and enjoyable, but also not filled with problems that end up making the game less enjoyable down the road.